Welcome to the Golf Psychology Podcast with your mental game of golf expert, Dr. Patrick Cohn. Do you want to improve your mental game of golf? Then join us each week in Sessions with Doc.
Welcome to session number 185 of the Golf Psychology Podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Cohn. In this episode, I answer a question from a golfer named Terry about the yips. Terry asked, I got those yips a few weeks back when I was down yet again with the flu virus. I'm a pretty good golfer and was down to about a 4 or 5 handicap, and usually pretty consistent. Putting has always been an issue for me. Many times in the past, I have putted with my eyes shut on the practice green and have been very successful. But as soon as I open the eyes back up, the tightness returns in my stroke. How can I get over the yips?
Want to rocket your mental game to new heights? Get Dr. Cohn's new CD and workbook program, The Golfer's Mental Edge. Visit peaksports.com for more details today.
Well, Terry, thanks for the question, and thanks for visiting my website at puttingyips.com. I think that's how you had contacted me. If you want some tips, obviously, and some articles on what are the yips, check out puttingyips.com. The yips are a very complex issue. Depending on who you ask, you're going to get a different question about how to solve the yips. If putting has always been an issue with you, that tells you that this issue of the yips is going to come and go until you can get beyond the fear that you have about putting. Often for me, the yips is all about fear. And by the way, I'm not sure about the relationship between catching a flu virus and then coming down with the yips, because the yips aren't really like a flu, or they're not really a disease, for example. The yips are all about, like I said earlier, it's about fear of missing and ultimately how that's going to affect your score, and also how others perceive you when you miss a 2-footer or you miss a 3-footer, for example. Now, so you've tried putting with your eyes closed on the practice green and been very successful with that. And one of the reasons why you are successful with that is it's a lot harder to manipulate the stroke, what I call over-control the stroke, guide or steer the stroke. You essentially are forced into position of having to trust your stroke when your eyes are closed. And I know some tour pros that have actually went to that method of putting with their eyes closed because it got so bad for them. The good news for you is it comes and goes. And it's not there all the time. Many of the golfers I work with, it's there constantly for them. Like if they have a 4 or 5 footer, they know that they're going to yip it. To me, it's to get over the yips, you have to address 2 main issues. The first issue is more of the core issue, as I call it, the fear that's underlying the over control. What that means is it fear of embarrassment, or are you fear of shooting a high score, fear of how it looks to others, fear of losing respect at the club, for example, or from your golf buddies? That's the first place you have to start to get beyond the yips. So it's not just about the fear of missing putts, I want you to know. It's more of a bigger issue about maybe the fear of embarrassment. Secondly, you have to get to a position where you can putt freely, naturally, instinctively. Often what I see is golfers will go in the opposite direction when they have a bad putting day. Then they go and they change everything. They'll change their putter, of course. They go to long putter or a different putting head. They'll change up their mechanics. They'll go to an instructor and say, what's wrong with my stroke? They'll change up their routine. They'll change up their putting practice on the warm-up green. The key, really, to me, to get yourself freed up on the greens is to be able to go back to an instinctive athletic style of putting in which you're not really trying to make a stroke. You're just trying to toss your ball on line, essentially. May sound simple, but that's what you have to do, is you have to go back to a state of simplicity, because you probably overcomplicated the whole putting game, and that's, wreaked havoc and caused problems as well. If you want some great drills that I have to help free up your putter, I call them my practice drills, or my anti-yips practice drills to free up your putting. Go to puttingyips.com and download them there. Thanks for the question, and good luck with your game.
Thank you for listening to the Golf Psychology Podcast, Sessions with Doc. Do you have a mental game question for Dr. Cohn? Visit the #1 golf psychology website at www.peaksports.com